Almas was a simple girl from a small village. Her eyes were full of dreams, but her pockets barely held any coins. She lost her parents in childhood, and her elder sister raised her. But poverty forced her sister to marry and leave, and Almas ended up in the city working as a waitress in a small restaurant. Every day, she worked tirelessly, smiling, polite, and never revealing the pain or fatigue behind her eyes. Her only hope was that one day, fate would show some mercy. That someday, something would change. One afternoon, while she was working as usual, a disabled boy in a wheelchair entered the restaurant. The staff ignored him and moved on. The boy's eyes reflected hunger, silence, and sadness. Almas stepped forward, knelt down beside him, and softly asked, "Would you like to eat something, sweet boy?" The boy didn't speak, he just nodded slowly with tired eyes. Almas immediately took the last bit of money from her pocket, went to the counter, and ordered a warm bowl of soup with soft bread. She sat with him and gently fed him with her own hands, smiling and saying, "This is for you, it's delicious, right?" Unbeknownst to her, someone was watching from the corner of the restaurant, a well-dressed, serious-looking man with white hair, speaking on the phone. He suddenly went quiet. His eyes welled up with tears. It was Edward Kingsley, a world-renowned billionaire whose wealth and power were unmatched. But in his heart, he carried an emptiness, a wound that the scene he had just witnessed made raw again. When Almas returned after feeding the boy, Edward softly said, "You reminded me of someone very special today." Almas looked at him, surprised. "What do you mean?" "My granddaughter, we lost her in an accident last year. She used to help others and smile just like you. The way you treated that boy, it brought her back to me, for a moment." Almas lowered her eyes. She had only fed a hungry child, but she had unknowingly touched a broken heart. A few days later, someone in the restaurant said, "That old man is here again, asking for you." Almas stepped outside and saw Edward standing there. "I need to talk to you." "But somewhere else." Almas hesitated, but there was no trick in his eyes. Edward took her to a beautiful cafe and said, "I'm about to make you a proposal." Almas froze. "You're much older than me." "Anne. I'm just a poor waitress." Edward gently replied, "I have all the wealth in the world, but you have the heart. I'm alone. I want to spend the last years of my life with someone who carries humanity the way you do." Almas thought deeply. What would people say? The world would laugh. But a voice in her heart said, "Maybe this is the miracle you've been waiting for." A few days later, they quietly got married. Edward gave her a palace-like home, fine clothes, servants, but more than anything, he gave her respect. 10 days after the wedding, Edward said, "Today, I want to show you something." He took her to a village outside the city. On the way, Almas asked, "Where are we going?" Edward smiled, "To my past." They stopped outside a small orphanage. A little girl was playing there. Edward softly said, "My granddaughter's last wish was for me to adopt a child that the world had abandoned. I fulfilled that wish. But I waited to introduce her to you, because I wanted you to meet her not as a stranger, but as her mother." Tears filled Almas's eyes. "You've given me the world, and now, a child too." Edward said gently, "The real gift was the day you fed that disabled boy without expecting anything in return. That day, you gave me hope. Today, this girl will find comfort just by seeing you." Almas held the little girl in her arms. A silent moment passed, but it stirred a storm in their hearts. Edward and Almas went on to build schools, hospitals, and shelters for orphan children. Almas, once a waitress, had become a mother, a partner, and a beacon of humanity. Even today, she shares her story with others and says, "If your pockets are empty, but your heart is full of love, then you are the richest person in the world."